Hey everyone, this is Red Racing Man, and today we are ranking all 32 Mario Kart DS tracks. So I will first review all tracks by cup and then rank them from worst to best. Then after that, I will rank every cup with math. So without further ado, let's go! While Figure 8 Circuit has a nice colorful atmosphere and nice music, it is just a bare bones track overall. The track design is just a figure 8 with no obstacles, no ramps, and no boost. That's it. Just a plain starting track. Yoshi Falls has a nice atmosphere and chipper music, but the track is just a very short oval taking about a minute to complete, bringing the track down a lot, unfortunately, and doesn't really have any resemblance to Yoshi aside from a hard to see giant egg in the middle. Cheap Cheap Beach is a nice beach track, and I like the different environments we go through, starting on the pier, then the actual beach, and then the jungle. Neat stuff. And the music is very nice and relaxing too. Luigi's Mansion has a very spooky vibe to it. I like how we start in the mansion, then make it out to the graveyard. But kinda strange we're only in the mansion for a very short amount of time. I'm not really a fan of the mud section since I sometimes go in directions I don't mean to go. Still a decent track overall. Desert Hills is a very typical desert track, as you could guess by the name. Mainly just a short path with some very grounded jumps. I like the angry sun in the background, but that's the only super interesting thing and it's hard to see anyway. Delfino Square is a nice track as we drive through the streets of Delfino Plaza. The track design is good and I especially love the drawbridge part, regardless of whether it's up or down. The track is just a tad too gray for trying to represent Delfino Plaza. It definitely would have worked better as a yellowish tone. Waluigi Pinball is a track we all know and love. We are on a literal pinball machine, starting with a cannon launch and making our way down to the pinball table. The track is very visually pleasing and colorful and varied, and I especially love the Waluigi statue up top. And the music is of course amazing. Although, even though this is the third track of the Flower Cup, it definitely should have been the concluding track. Shroom Bridge is a pretty typical highway track. It has a nice atmosphere and a nice catchy tune, but there could be a bit more to the track to make it stand out, like some alternate paths in the garden section, since the whole track is just one path. It's still a solid track. DK Pass, which should really be called Donkey Kong Pass, is a solid track on a winter mountain. The track could be just a bit more lively though, maybe some audience at the finish line, and more connection to Donkey Kong. Tick Tock Clock is very unique. Also, we are racing inside a clock, and on and around clock parts, such as pendulums, gears, and all that. The music is pretty neat too and kinda spooky. And now that I think of it, the track is kinda dark, spooky, and edgy, but in a good way. Mario Circuit is not too bad for its kind. The track design is pretty decent, and there are Goombas and Piranha Plants to avoid throughout the track. And I like how the environment switches from the road outside the castle to a dirt path separated by a pipe. Woohoo! Airship Fortress is a pretty awesome track. We are racing in a literal war zone, driving on top of a castle, on a ship, inside the ship, and of course the awesome cannon launch into the tower. The corkscrew turn into the tower is a little janky and goes on for a bit, but the track is still awesome regardless. Wario Stadium shares its name with the track from Mario Kart 64, but it is quite a bit different in a good way. The track is more colorful, has some fun boosts and jumps, and is just a nice fun track and proves every Wario track is awesome. And it has that same awesome music as Waluigi Pinball. Peach Gardens is a relaxing, peaceful track with charming music. I especially love the maze section with the chain jumps. Although why is the starting line orange not in line with the finish line? Strange. Bowser Castle. Not Bowser's Castle, just Bowser Castle. Anyways, this is a pretty neat Bowser Castle, and the main element seems to be moving parts from the twisty room, the rotating cylinder with an alternate path below if you fall, and the moving platforms. Definitely a cool Bowser castle, even though it's probably not the absolute best. The final Nitro track, as always, is Rainbow Road. This Rainbow Road is quite a treat, like always. This Rainbow Road has a very colorful road texture, and one of the best pieces of music for a Rainbow Road. It's just a nice tune. The design is good too, especially having a loop then a corkscrew. Both first for the Mario Kart series, and long before Mario Kart 8 introduced anti-gravity. Some might disagree, but this is one of my favorite Rainbow Road tracks. Now onto the Retro Cups, starting with the Shell Cup, with SNES Mario Circuit 1. So this is the first Mario Kart track of all time, so it definitely makes sense for this to be the first track to start off the retro portion of the game. So the track is very basic and short and nothing too special. Although it is a good introduction to retro tracks, especially since this is the first Mario Kart to have retro tracks the traditional way, not like Super Circuit's half-assed remakes. N64 Moo Moo Farm is another basic but chill track. There are some jumps, good atmosphere music, and Monty Balls to avoid. It is just short in a loop. GBA Peach Circuit definitely shouldn't have been the first choice to represent the GBA game in the Shell Cup. It is such a bare bones track with literally nothing. Not even anything interesting to sightsee besides a castle in the background. And once again, using Nathaniel Bandy's old joke, the track is shaped like a deformed chicken nugget. GCN Luigi Circuit has a neat gimmick, where the same path is used to get to different parts of the track. It's hard to describe, but you know what I mean. It's an okay remake. The widening of a track was a bit too much, and the alternate paths from the original were removed sadly. The most interesting part of SNES Donut Plains 1 is a bridge. Next. N64 Frappe Snowland retains the same cheerful music and atmosphere from the original and still feels like a winter wonderland. It was definitely ported over very smoothly. GBA Bowser Castle 2 is another track that stays true to the original and has all of the nice fun jumps. But one complaint I have is that the music remix doesn't retain that GBA Bowser Castle vibe. It sounds too much like a crappy fan-made remix. GCN Baby Park is the last track of the Banana Cup. Yes, really. They messed up this track a lot. For one, the most obvious flaw is that the track is cut down to 5 laps instead of 7, and some more things that aren't the DS's fault, like the more empty track design. The music went from sounding happy and energetic to kinda sad, and the background lost all of its appeal. And I'd like to talk to the genius who thought it would be a perfect idea to make this the last track of the Banana Cup. If you wanted to make this track so special that it deserved to wrap up the cup, you should have added laps instead of taking away laps, maybe add some Goombas and chain jumps to make up for the less chaos. And yes, I know that the retro tracks are ordered by game, but still, I had to make this point. SNES Koopa Beach 2 is nothing special, just a short loop with a section of potholes. I like the remix though. It sounds a lot more tropical than the original, and also the atmosphere is good since it's a beach. N64 Choco Mountain is a solid remake. This version is a lot easier to maneuver and plays pretty well. The brown color is just a tad dull. The brown color can stick out a little more like the original. GBA Luigi Circuit is actually a very well done remake, and is definitely way better than most circuit tracks in this game. The design is solid, and it has all the details still, like the Luigi blimp and that little factory or station wherever it is, which I looked up on the Mario Wiki, and it is designated as a radio control building. GCN Mushroom Bridge took away all of the useless parts of the original. The pipe long cut, the ability to drive on the sidewalks, and driving on the arches of the bridge. But I think they were all useless, so it didn't take away from the track that much. It's a solid, colorful highway track with nice music. Just a little short. SNES Choco Island 2 is just a mess. The design is messy. You actually want to avoid the ramps since they seem to slow you down. The mud is slippery, or chocolate syrup, or whatever it is. And those mountains in the background fittingly look like middle fingers, because that's what this track deserves. N64 Banshee Boardwalk is a massive improvement from the original, which was kinda hard to maneuver and see. It's overall just a cool track with a cooler atmosphere and creepy but fitting music. GBA Sky Garden is a nice remake, having some added shortcuts and the track is easy to maneuver. The music remix is very nice too. GCN Yoshi Circuit is the game's concluding track, oddly enough, which might be extremely perplexing to the majority. But the track is still solid. It has that awesome Yoshi-shaped design, keeps the Yoshi feel and nice environment, even if it was slightly nerfed by the limitations of the DS. So, that is all 32 tracks of Mario Kart DS reviewed. So now, let's rank these tracks from worst to best. So yes, the record tracks were mostly iffy, with most on the lower half of the list, none of them competing with the best of the best. But now, let's rank these cups with math. So in last place, we have the Shell Cup with an average of 24.75, then the Banana Cup with 23.75, Mushroom Cup with 22.75, Lightning Cup with 17.25, Leaf Cup with 14.5, Flower Cup with 13.25, Star Cup with 11.25, and the best cup of the game is the Special Cup with an average of 4.5. The Special Cup hit it out of the park in this game, with every track ending up in the top 10, and could be a contender for the best cup of all time, along with Mario Kart 8 Star Cup. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, feel free to leave your own ranking of the tracks in Mario Kart DS. So, I'll see you in another video.